Let's log in and check the news. Ew. Today, we're going to talk about FTX basically imploding, becoming the new Terra Luna in terms of the impact on the industry. Let's start with some of the news articles that help inform us about what's been taking place over the last 24 hours, 48 hours. If you've been sleeping under a rock and you're also into crypto, not a good idea, by the way. Don't sleep under a rock if you're involved in crypto. FTX and Binance have had a little bit of a feud. At least the founders of those two exchanges have had something of a very public feud on Twitter, where CZ, the infamous CEO of Binance, has kind of thrown some shade over at SBF, or Sam Bankman-Fried, and the FTX platform. Why? Well, I think because there have been rumors for some time that SBF has been involved in some type of manipulation or that they could be insolvent. So once the whispers of that rumor got around, SBF went on the counteroffensive and said some things to CZ. I'm not going to recount the entire tale here. You can go check it out on Twitter or check out any of the other videos that are already 2 days old talking about that side of it. Fast forward to today, and a couple of things have happened. They've patched up the relationship. What was a very public feud between Sam Bankman-Fried and CZ has turned into kind of kissing and making up, where CZ said, you know what, we're in the process of investigating whether or not we can come in and help to repair any potential shortfall. If there is some insolvency on the part of FTX, maybe we can come in and do a bailout. Maybe we can help kind of prop things up and help make your users whole on their investments. Well, that hasn't happened because today, Binance announced that they would be backing out of any sort of a deal like this because of what they found on the books. Binance backs out of the deal, citing the balance sheet, things not being quite in shape the way that FTX had promised them it might be when they looked at it. And then, of course, any type of investigations that could be ongoing because of those bad debts, right? Because of their assertion to their users that they were totally in possession of backing for all of the debts and all of the accounts. This is bad. In crypto, we don't have the same kind of leeway to rehypothecate user funds that traditional finance is. Figure that one out. That's also a good thing. We don't want any kind of a custodial solution to not be in possession of all of the funds. Runs on banks historically have ended poorly for the banks themselves, but more poorly for the people who got in there late and couldn't get their funds off of those either exchanges or centralized custodial platforms or banks, right? Historically, it's never worked out well for those who are just a little bit too late. And we do need to think about the little guy when it comes to these kinds of things. Speaking of thinking of the little guy, even though Binance is backing out of this deal, there have been some ideas floated on crypto Twitter about the prospect of doing almost like an FDIC style bailout, where up to a certain amount is offered to users of FTX by Binance to buy up some of that bad debt, to buy out some of those user accounts, and to at least allow for the most vulnerable users of FTX to come out with their shirts still on. And I don't know, maybe that idea has merit. You tell me in the comment section what you think about that idea. I'm not saying that I'm for or against it, but it caught my attention thinking, well, yeah, possibly. That's why FDIC insurance exists in the traditional markets, or at least within banks in the United States. So I wonder if maybe these two organizations can just on a more friendly terms, right? Without regulators stepping in and telling them they have to do it, or without an executor, once they have to file for bankruptcy, an executor telling FTX that they have to do something along those lines, right? Work in reverse order and make all of the small to mid-size accounts whole first. Wouldn't it be better if they could just figure that out and then just decide to do that? Could be a really good look for Binance too. As far as additional related news, the block covers a little bit more about this story. It's a nearly $8 billion shortfall in terms of what FTX needs to pay back. And Bankman-Fried, or Sam Bankman-Fried, told investors that they had to get a cash injection or they would be filing for bankruptcy. That just happened today, November 9th. I mean, this is pretty breaking stuff, only a few minutes before I went to record this episode. So this is definitely happening. We can be in disbelief, right? The stages of grief or whatever. We can disbelief and anger, et cetera, but this is really happening. That's the bottom line. If you have funds on FTX, the likelihood of you being able to withdraw them is pretty low. You're probably not getting your money back at this point. And if you have funds on other exchanges like Crypto.com, at this point, the knock-on effects are so great that they're not going to let you pull your funds off of Crypto.com using the wormhole wrapped USDC or USDT ticker symbols. Yeah, so you can't even take any of your profits from Crypto.com and put them on the Solana network. Well, what does Solana have to do with FTX? if you're not familiar with what it has to do with FTX, Solana is really the brainchild and the project that is sponsored by FTX. I get it. There's an FTT token. It's traded on other networks, but Solana is an Alameda project, the same group that runs FTX. SBF Alameda. You ever wonder where that name comes from? It has to do with the investment group that is the mothership for both of those projects, FTX and Solana. Are they the same thing? No, they're not the same thing, but they're very closely related. So the likelihood of there being any kind of a failure, or certainly at least some distress to the Solana network, is pretty high. Now that FTX is going on record admitting that they may need to file for bankruptcy, it's definitely going to affect their ability to continue work on Solana if the mothership Alameda is suffering that big a loss because of the $8 billion shortfall in FTX. Now, of course, the FTT token, as you would expect, because of this news, it's totally taking a nosedive. It's totally racing towards zero because of the liquidity crisis and the issue with Binance totally backing out of the deal. Why wouldn't it, right? And there's the tweet from Binance saying as a result of their corporate due diligence, they're backing out. That happened earlier today, as of the time of recording. And yeah, FTT is down 90%. It's not even being listed as one of the biggest losers on CoinGecko because the damage is that bad. I think CoinGecko is trying to prevent any further reputational damage. Now, CZ and the little feud between CZ and Sam Bankman-Fried, it's water under the bridge at this point, and potentially, it looks like probably there's no ill will between these two men. But that's not really the point, is it? The point is that FTX is insolvent. The point is that FTX doesn't have your money. The point is that when the Binance CEO pointed it out and Sam Bankman-Fried went on the counter offensive, those were all just words. It's all just bluster. He was full of crap, basically. Unfortunately, again, if your money is on FTX, you're probably not getting it back. And if it's on crypto.com, they're definitely not going to let you transfer over to Solana. Let's take a look at why that is now. Well, at this point, CoinGecko is listing Solana as the biggest loser of the last 24 hours. FTT is not even being listed at this point, but here it is at 41.9% down, and the trend looks like it's generally still negative. It's still dropping. Right over the last 24 hours, this is the chart, a little bit of recovery, and there are definitely some people saying that they're going to speculate on this coin moving into the future. Personally, I wouldn't, but if you've been following the channel, then you know I don't take those kinds of speculative bets. What we will be doing in the near future is taking a look at GPU, CPU, and ASIC mineable cryptocurrencies. Proof of work style coins that can be mined now speculatively, and then any other coins that we can potentially scoop up during the speculative bottom for Bitcoin. Before I let you go, this is the instigating event for the next leg down in Bitcoin's price. Here's our chart. We call it affectionately our mining chopsticks. Over on TradingView, we can see these two red candle days. As of our last live stream, we punched through that bottom support line. And as of, well, yesterday, all these shenanigans with FTX, we've gone even farther down with a tiny bit of recovery that we're seeing at this moment. So we could be finding an entirely new range at this point, redefining what bottom support looks like. And then, of course, any potential upside trend based on the tops over on the other side of our mining chopsticks. Very likely no longer an ascending wedge, but a brand new formation that will update the next time we take a look at that chart. But right now, Bitcoin is down, which means everything is going to be down to some extent. But Solana, down bad. Thanks so much for watching to the end, for sharing this video, for being subscribed if you're not already. If you are not familiar with what Mind Your Biz does, we are a mining focused and a proof of work focused cryptocurrency channel, but we talk about a 360-degree view of cryptocurrency markets, NFTs, play to earn. And we also offer consulting services as well as a newsletter to those who sign up for it. We'll be in Miami for the Decentral event, so if you're going to be there, IRL in person, use the link down below to get a discount and to have your contribution. There's no affiliate fee going to us. To have your contribution that would be our affiliate fee go to charity, specifically Habitat for Humanity. Thank you so much for your support. Watching to the end, you're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.